The most high is the most high is
the bright rays of reality are here, raising up our community. No fear. Solar power is flowing through the atmosphere. It's only right we resounding and channel out of here. There's no helping the black race, they all did. Mobilizing the beast in the forehead. There's no turning us back, we focus forward now. Our only focus is on it, we will never bow. Yes, we're taking this over, this is our pledge. Our only focus is on it, we are full-fledged. The brain must never play games, power don't play. We focus on honest work, seeking the brighter day. We all give for this power, we don't look back. The ones really of vomit will never fade the black. With the elected of vomit, you better recognize the next order of vomit is surely on the rise.
Truly the descendants of the almond wings, pure as whispers of the sonic face. When we look through the slice and we sing the face, and before the day that the honest chose me, bow for the myth to change that was broken free. I'm a mind to forever extend constantly. None of the fallen blacks and material possessions, we connect with our minds with the hostage of oppressions. Finding this reality while focusing on honoring what they have in store for us. When you really have the elected, that's the way you can ever be rejected. Have your mindset forward and backwards, no, not never again. We are the right way, stand focused, moving into the fourth dimension. Shifting in and out like a dominator cube. Why seeing full spectrums of colors amaze you. As we collectively moving about, the whole world is stop and start to shout. Hell, man, yep, yes indeed. We're moving at the speed of I'm so righteously. Watching in the bright nights, moving on one solar accord. As the righteous select comes together once more. Reconstructing our mind, body, souls, and ethers. Preparing righteously, Lord, order, bringing in a full fiery judgment. Burning away all the beastly corruptions by restoring natural law, order, and stretching the families all across the lands. We have the power key to our future plans. We all are real, our men and women. Our judgment will get this planet the soul to cleanse. Straight from the omnitic beings. Yep, it is the ROM, is where we stand. How if you need us, yep, we have the omnis. This is our planet, and we're coming to take it.
Black artists and actors, tell from the Christians.
in the future, living in the future. Breathing in the future, we are the future. We not the present, nor past dwellers. We are the honor beings, we future tellers. Speaking in the future, living in the future. Breathing in the future, we are the future. We not the present, nor past dwellers. We are the honor beings, we future tellers. Yeah. Only Amen. Hell Amen. We forming the body, the Amen body. Everybody play a part of the body, a soul body. First the mind, the mental, then the brain. Our future self neurons in the transmission, transforming us into our future televoltron. We are on the rivers of space and time, extended the line of a natural solar between humans, just a front line with that. Passing the you and the old me, the future tell them, oh, you'll see. Of the blueprint with the mentions of the blueprint, spectrums going to the right ones being deep. With the mind of a sharpshooter, thinking team is in the future. Let's travel through time and space with no trace, while I'm sitting in your face, never daydreaming into future vision. I can manifest my greatest creation. Solar cells of a mental projecting mutation. To my unborn future solar surfaces that will bust and break through the great veil. Now time to take your first inhale. My children, yes, you been here. If you catch me in the days you thought I was on, in a higher dimension, not a mind zone. I'm a definition of a power astral projection. Black mind sit down to take the listen. You know why? Teach yourself, I'm coming. See me in the future, thinking in the future. Living in the future, we are the future. We not the present, nor past dwellers. We are the honor beings, we future tellers. Thinking in the future, living in the future. Living in the future, we are the future. We not the present, nor past dwellers. We are the honor beings, we future tellers.
Pen came to life when I seen the brightness. Yes, a future teller, innocent elder, top soldier in this thing of ours. No mafioso, only built for MENTELLECT. Intellectuals take over the globe. Future prophecy, we here connect. Future vision of our ascension. Lord of diligence, will strength and power. Iron sharpens iron, sparks flying, and still made from carbon. 2003, lady soldier, fire starter, flames on, black torch, fantastic, full, wide, civilized.
Projection of Amen. I go first and fly, never second aside. In my soul, it is my levitation. Out of this world, and my soul is here, flying everywhere. And my soul is here, baby rhymes with it. Yes, I'm a real superwoman. Since the day I found life, I fix my wrongs so right. To restore the right connection, I'm a superwoman. My powers have no limit, cause I move by the way of Amen. And then Amen I trust. Yeah, and Amen I trust. Out of this world, and my soul is here, flying everywhere. And my soul is here, really rhymes with it. Yes, I'm a real superwoman.
She's so out of this world, man, it's so nice. She's so out of this world, all her erasing women look with fascination. She decided to make a room and build a stronger foundation. So she took initiation, came home to a bright place. With her crown fully poured out and her beautiful glow. She showed us 6 months the greatest power race so they can grow. Her soul shining so bright, evolving, gave me think about from the artificial fixing beauty world ever water. Now she's with her own women, no longer part of the gray race. She's a bright, bronze, beautiful woman, all our magnificent. And now she resides where the rest of the men and women are. So empowered by her undisputed states. My soul is here, flying everywhere. And my soul is here, baby, rise with me. Yes, I'm a real
Okay, I got it. No, mine. Okay. Gotta get this dumped down. We're live. We're live. I don't see myself yet, but we're live. I don't see myself yet. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Make sure we all right. We're here. We're here. We're here. All right. Okay. Thank you. Can I have some water, please? All right. We are here on Sunday night for our latest installment of High and Mighty Talks with Nuben Menkares. I'm your host, the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and again, this is High and Mighty Talks. I want to touch on a few things tonight. You know, I want to go to about 9:30 and whatnot. You know, So, a few things I want to touch on. All right. Okay. All right. So, we're going to touch on a few topics today. Okay. Before we start, I'm going to start off in the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord. In Amen we trust. In Amen we think. And in Amen we continue forward forever. All right. I'll touch a few things today. Looking at my little list of things. Okay. All right. I wanted to address in the last video when I was talking about white supremacy versus white degeneracy. I had a person leave a comment in my section, and I wasn't trying to get that type of energy in the section because really that video was about certain people as far as our people and their way of thinking. It really wasn't about Caucasian people per se. Okay? Which brings me to what I want to make understood. What I want to make very clear in comprehension. Am I a racist? No, I'm not. I don't consider myself a racist at all. I'm a realist more than anything because, you know, people have a problem, not with racism,
but with the reality of what is being said about certain people. Now, for the Caucasian people, like I said, I don't have to really do a sidebar or, you know, anything for anyone, because who's going to listen to it is going to listen to it. But I'm not racist, and I don't hate white people. I don't hate black people. I don't hate nobody. I just simply speak on reality of what people have done, their actions. I judge people based on their actions, not on the color of their skin. You know, you being, whether you're pale, lily pale, or blue black, it don't matter to me, because like I said, people are already set to be in the line they in. I can't judge you for judging you how you look physically. You can't help how you look physically. Okay, you can't help what your genetic makeup is. So I don't judge people based on whether they're black or white or any other race. What I judge you on is your actions. If black people were doing the same thing that white people were doing systematically, then I would say that was wrong as well. Wrong is wrong. I don't root for people just because they have the same skin complexion as me. You see, that's where morals come in. That's where righteousness comes in, when you stand up for what's right. I don't care. Things that are righteous, things that are just right and exact, they don't have any color. Okay? They don't have any color. They don't have any complexion. They don't have any real, you know, set people that it's with. It's more with the people who acknowledge righteousness for what it is, and that is reality. So when I speak about white supremacy or white degeneracy or black people acting like degenerates or anybody, I'm speaking based on people's actions, and I'm usually using that as an example. But I don't hate anybody. I don't hate Jews. I don't hate white people. I don't hate black people. I don't want to start getting that flood of hate energy, just like I don't want that flood of love energy. I don't need all of that. You know, what I, you know, would like to accomplish from these videos, from the message, is the raising of the minds of my people, and people who choose to listen to it, though it may not be for you, the people that choose to listen to it, you would develop a sense of reality in what's being said. Again, the truth is not always pretty. Reality is not always pretty, but it is what it is, and that's what we have, and that's what we have to base our foundation on. So no, I don't hate white people. No, I don't hate black people. No, I don't hate Asians or Jews or anybody. I don't hate anybody. But I am going to speak on your actions, you know, if they are negative. Because if you're not a white supremacist, if you're not a white degenerate, then what I said in the last video shouldn't bother you. You shouldn't be bothered by it. Now, what's that old saying? A hit dog is going to holler. If you feel like something I said applied to you, because the guy who made a comment in my section, you didn't say I was wrong. You just said how people going to feel about it. I don't give a shit how people feel about anything. I don't care how people feel. You see, no longer, like, people didn't care about our feelings as so-called black people in this society. Nobody cared about what we felt. Nobody cared about what we were going through, the trauma and the stress our people were put under. So I don't care. I am going to speak the truth, but I am not trying to condemn a whole bunch of people just because. I don't do that. I condemn actions. See, that's the mindset of a true judge. I look at your actions. Now, I'm pretty sure it's a lot of nice white people. It's a lot of nice Caucasian people, a lot of nice black people. That's nice. Peaceful people just go about their business. People mind their business and just go on with their life. See, those are the good people. Those are the people I consider to be good people. People who mind their business. The people who are not concerned about what I'm saying. As long as I'm not physically trying to harm you, and as long as you're not physically trying to harm me or mine, I don't have no problem with nothing people believe in, what they say, what they think. I could care less. I can care less. See, I'm secure in my supremacy as a bright man, as a bronze man, a copper-colored man, not a black man. Not a black man. You know, which brings me to my next point. I'm noticing a lot of people are now starting to point to the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary of what the true meaning of American is. Copper-colored races that inhabited the Americas before Europeans came here. Now, I found something interesting, right? I put up on my wall on Facebook. I found it very interesting. Talked about the Red Indians. This is historyofamerica.com. Red Indians are the natives of America. They came from Siberia 2,700 years ago, or 2,700 years ago. The time when the Ice Age started in the northern parts of the world. Those people belong to the Mongolian human race. The Mongolian human race. They put 27,000, but that's not correct. More like you say that, but there were people that were here before them. Now they say these people are native. Now here's the thing. You can't be native to a place when you come from someplace else. Okay, they said 27,000 years when the Ice Age started in the northern part of the world and people belong to the Mongolian human race. That's where your so-called Native Americans come from, your so-called American Indians. So these people are Mongolians. All right, this is where a lot of your Latinos with the straight hair, a lot of your Red Indians, these are all Asian people. These are people, the Mexicans, these are people of Asian descent. Here it is right there, of the Mongolian race. However, when they came, there were people who were already here in the Americas. There were people that were here in the Americas already. Who were these people in the Americas? Let's see. The people in the Americas, right? American, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of the Europeans born in America. They use the word American. So, well, you have the red people who are talking about who are natives to America, and then you have the Aboriginal, meaning the original or the original people that were here who were copper-colored. These are not the same people. Okay? These are not the same people. So, just by the fact that these are not the same people, and right here in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, it didn't say the red. Now, see, they were using the term red. It didn't say the red Indians were the Aboriginal people of America. They said the copper-colored people. Now, I found it funny. I saw Reza Islam. He was on the No Jumper podcast, and he was speaking just maybe a few days ago about the copper-colored. He made reference to the copper-colored Aboriginals races found here by the Europeans. Now, the thing I find funny about that, because I was pushing that, I've been pushing that for a good while now about how people being the copper-colored people. I've been pushing that. Reza Islam, no disrespect to him. I like the brother's work and whatnot. He seems, okay for what he does. You belong to the Nation of Islam, and y'all pushed at the black man about the black man. So which one is it? Because he said in the same video, he talked about black people, but then you said the copper-colored people. He didn't make the distinction that, we're not black people, nor where did that come from, the term black people. How did we go from copper-colored, either we are the copper-colored people or our skin is black, or we're black people? He didn't make no distinction about where that terminology of black comes from. Because here he says that this definition of American and the people who are described as the copper-colored races are our people. So then in the same interview, why don't you go and say that we black people? You see, that's confusing people. Either we're the copper-colored bronze people, as we say, we the copper-colored bronze people, the elemental people, or we black people, which is a distinction that comes from Caucasians. Okay, that's a distinction that comes from Caucasians. That was what they did when they were setting up their, like I told you, their system of those who would be the haves and the have-nots. It was already decided the whites would be the haves and the blacks would be the have-nots of this system that was set up here, this United States government. That the blacks would be the have-nots, but they would be the flunkies. They would be the people who would sit around and fight in wars, be slaves and whatnot. The peons, the people at the bottom of the barrel. See, that's what black is attached to. This is why I say we need to stop using black altogether. Because when you stop using black, white is going to collapse. It's going to fall down. Let somebody else be black. Let the East Indians be black people. Let the so-called Africans, the tribal Africans who come in here, let them be black people. Let them be the real African Americans. We don't have enough of that. Enough of hiding our true ethnicity. Enough of hiding our true nationality as Americans, the real Americans. So if you're not going to say that you're ethnic American, say that you're American, because that's what we are by nationality. The original people who have empires here going back as far as 3,000 years ago. Don't nobody predate our people. The so-called Red Indians do not predate our people here in America. In fact, the culture that they have with the feathers and the bows and all this other stuff and all the bows and arrows and the feathers, that's from the Mayan people. That's from the Mesoamerican people, in which who they came upon in the South America and then Central America before we left out of there. A lot of our people and made our way into North America, which is how we got here. And we got here into North America first. That's the true history. Now, it's been proven that the Mayans are so-called black people, are copper-colored people. I just was using black. See, I made the distinction. So I said so-called black people. That the Mayans are those copper-colored people through the Bonin Park temples, which Reza Islam didn't mention. To go look on the Bonin Park temples, of how I'm back. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we're just going to jump back into where we left off at. I'm back. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we're just going to jump back into where we left off. Okay. In a second. All right. So, as I was saying, that our people, the ethnic Americans, descendants of the Mesoamericans, the people who did not come from Africa, which is the mass majority of our people who are here in America, we put everything into this country. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into this country, into America, only for other people to benefit from this. They benefit from this. The people that's coming over here, the Asians, the Mexicans, all the people that came over here, the Caucasians, these people would have had no place to come had we not been building up this country. We were already cultivating North America before Caucasians and the Mongoloid or the Red Indians got here. So see, right there, when I call Red Indians Mongolians or Mongoloids, that's not me being negative or derogatory toward them. That's right in the history of where these people come from. That you can't be from someplace else. Again, I just read to you, you can't be from someplace else. If you notice when I read that about the Mongoloid Indians, and they said they came from Mongolia, right? They crossed the Bering Straits. How can you be from someplace else and then say that you're native to the land? I need y'all to make that make sense to me. How can you be from someplace else? If that's the case, then the white man can say he's native to America. If you can just disregard where you from, then the so-called white man can say he's from America. And he just came here and started all over. He just going to forget about his European origins and he could come over and start all over. So my question, like in the last video, was why is it that the Red Indians get to say that they, are Native Americans, but they don't ever tell you where they come from, why they look Asian looking, why they have the slanted eyes. They never say that they are Mongolians and that they crossed the Bering Strait, because then people are not going to look at them as native. Now, when the description of the Americans, the copper-colored races of people was described, notice no one said that these copper-colored races of people that are aboriginal or the original people, nobody said in the description that these people came from someplace else. It was that these people are the Americans and that was it. But your Red Indians, your Mongoloid Indians, it's already been said and proven that they come from elsewhere. They're from Mongolia. So you can't be native to a place when you come from someplace else. We're native to America. We didn't come from Africa. And again, in the description, it pretty much lets that be known that these are a different kind of people. But like I said, it makes sense that we are the real natives of this land and that you know, the Caucasians forced us into slavery because we were already cultivating this land. They just made us work for them. Strong on this. And it's funny how we're expected to put up with and, you know, accept things that other people would have never accepted. Other people would have never accepted slavery. Other people would have never accepted being treated like second and third class citizens in their country, our country. And please keep this in mind that this is our country. Before anybody was here, we was here. We watched everybody come to the shores of America, from the Red Indians to the Caucasians and everybody else since then. We've seen everybody come to this country and prosper in this country that was built off of our backs. So yeah, when bronze people, when the copper colored people do ask for, when they do ask for reparations, yes, they do deserve it. But I said the funny thing about it is you should be asking for it as those copper colored Americans. You shouldn't be asking for it as no black people, because what is black people? There are no black people. You should be asking for it as the copper colored races. All right. Let me see what else I want to address. Hold on. More stuff. I wanted to say this. I think I did this in a broadcast, but I want to repeat this if I didn't, you know, touch on this. I said, while we must have a real ethnic American community to replace the fake black ones, no, you know, me sitting here in real time watching the gentrification of our neighborhoods, you know, watching the gentrification of where we grew up at, whereas other people's racial barriers and racial lines are still respected, like the Jews, you're not going to do any kind of ethnic cleansing of these people in their neighborhoods. You're not going to force them out of their neighborhoods. Their neighborhoods are strongholds, right? Their neighborhoods are strongholds, and Jewish neighborhoods and Caucasian neighborhoods where it's a lot of Italians and Germans and where white people are, where they don't want no black people at. I'm watching here in New York, in places that have been for the longest time foundational bases, you know, ethnic American foundational bases, aka black neighborhoods. I'm watching them being gentrified. I'm watching our neighborhoods being flooded with different races of people, when these same people can go just as easily and live in Bay Ridge, go live in Bensonhurst. They can go live in these places. But why do they choose to come to where we are? When we go to those areas, it's nigga, get out my neighborhood. But they can flood these areas where we are, and nobody respects our, you know, neighborhoods or our, you know, space. Even us, we don't even respect it. Why is that? Because there's no ethnicity to be proud of. There's no ethnicity to back it up. You can't say, oh, you know, this is a black neighborhood. What is a black neighborhood? It's nothing. So you already think, oh, it's just black people here. People with no identity. People with no name, no nationality, no culture, no language, no nothing. It's just black people here. Do you understand how that sounds? Do you understand how that sounds? You're saying that there's a bunch of nobodies here. When you say black people, you're basically saying a bunch of nobodies. That's what you're saying when you're calling yourself black people. You're calling yourself a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of people that don't exist. So how am I going to ask for reparations for a people that don't even exist? This black thing, that's not reality. Our skin is not black. And like I said, with the term ethnic American, with that terminology, at least we can say, okay, this is an American community, an ethnic American community. This is our community, not an African American community, because as you can see, nobody respects no African American community. You know why nobody respects it? You know why they gentrify it? You know why, you know, Caucasians and Jews and everybody are allowed to own buildings in the quote unquote so-called African American community or an African American neighborhood? Because they don't respect it as a real community. It's not respected as a real community. It's not accepted as a real community because y'all don't think of yourself that way. And I told you all before how the world sees you, how everyone sees our people in the world is based on how we portray ourselves to the world. So in other words, if you truly want to fix the situation of quote unquote so-called black people, you got to throw out black, and you have to give our people their true identity, their true ethnicity, their true, nationality of who they are as ethnic Americans. You have to give it to them. Now there's no African Americans because that's false. Now there's no black people because that's false. Now there's no Negroes. Now there's no Moors. Now there's no Muslims. Now there's no Christians. Now there's no Israelites. All that is a bunch of fantasy. That's fantasy. Because the same people who talk like the Israelites, you guys talking about Israelists and Israelite, but you here in America talking about Israel. You're not in Israel talking about Israel. You're in America talking about Israel. Okay? You Muslims, y'all not in Saudi Arabia talking about black Muslims or Islam. You're talking about that in America. The thing that's always the constant in the things that these people claim is that they always doing their movements and they launching their movements from America. Even the so-called Pan-Africanists, none of these guys ever go up and go to Africa. Even Umar Johnson, none of these guys up and go to Africa. They always sit around and they're talking about Pan-Africanism, but they're not up and moving to Africa and starting the African, they're not starting the African, migration there. They're not opening up no spaces in Africa for our people. Why? Because we don't belong here. This is our land. And even if you go into Africa, the Caucasians dominate Africa as well. The Caucasians and the Asians dominate Africa. So you don't have anything of your own. It's constantly being pushed that you deserve to be displaced as a people. Why? Because you don't know who you are as a people. Y'all don't stand together on nothing. The Asians stand together, the Caucasians stand together, the Jews stand together. All these groups of people stand together. The East Indians, that's why they can come into your territories and take over and subjugate your people. Make them second-class citizens in their own country. I was like appalled in South Africa when I heard about how the people over there, the natives of the land, which 9 times out of 10, those are bronze copper-colored people. Because I said before, every African is not African. We got people in Africa who call themselves African, but a lot of them are not Africans. A lot of them are ethnic Americans who migrated into Africa. And some of them got mixed in with the tribal Africans, some of them didn't. You can clearly see the difference in the hair texture, the skin. I told you that before. You got people in Africa who look like Americans. A lot of the Nigerians look like Americans, and you got the tribal Nigerians. So my point in saying that is that there's a breakdown in the communication of who we are as a people. So again, if our culture is not put up, our true culture, if our true heritage is not put up, then guess what? People are going to constantly keep putting us down and displacing us and moving us to the side and gentrifying us. Because as you can see, so-called black people, they don't have a problem. Black people don't have a problem with gentrification because they think that anybody coming here that's, other than them is a good thing. Oh, a group of different races of people. And, y'all have this, black people have this, oh, come on, everybody. And, we all together mentality, but nobody has that for you. When you go into Caucasian areas, a bunch of areas with white people or whatever, they don't have that same mentality for you. They don't want you in their areas. And if they do, they only want one or two of you at the time. This could never happen in a Jewish neighborhood. A bunch of black people flooding these areas or white people flooding their areas. That can never happen in a white neighborhood when you see a mass flooding of black people into these areas. You would never have that. The people, the residents of that area wouldn't have that. But because we don't value ourselves, we don't value our areas, we don't value the places that we're supposed to be growing and fostering as a people and making these safe havens for our children and our families to grow up, we don't value them. That's why your children are under attack from the police. That's why they're under attack from the government, the society. They're under attack from everything. You so-called black men, your masculinity is under attack. You see, people are not even afraid to show you images of black men wearing damn dresses out here. They're not even afraid to just basically step on your damn manhood in front of your face. And unfortunately, you got a bunch of Sambo coons out here who for a few dollars For a few dollars more, they're willing to sashay their asses up and down in Hollywood and on YouTube and Instagram, making fools out of themselves. You see, trading in their masculinity for money. I had to burn some of this fine blend to calm myself down because I saw myself being a little bit agitated. But, you know, I understand what this is all about and what these people are doing. You have to have a greater understanding. Again, my word, greater comprehension. All right. So the reason why real ethnic American communities, and again, I coined that phrase, ethnic American. The real reason why ethnic American communities must replace black ones is because we have to let our people know wherever we are, because the mass majority of you are ethnic Americans, those of you who were born here, who have family that done been through slavery, who done been here in this country, who think you're African American. 9 times out of 10, you're ethnic American. You are the descendants of those Mesoamerican people, the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, who made their way into North America, which all so-called black people who were here during slavery, their family, you are connected to those people. You are the descendants of the real Americans here in this land. And we need to be teaching our children that, and we need to reconnect that bridge that gap of historical and knowledge that, and rebridge that, bring that heritage together again to go forward as a people, and thus have murals in our areas and whatnot of the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan. We need to put that history up. That's our true history, not African history. Our true history is Mesoamerican history. You see, ethnic American history. This is what we need to be teaching our children. And if we taught our children that you are the real Americans, that you should be answering to American as your nationality, ethnic American, then maybe they would stop killing themselves under the guise, destroying each other under the guise of being blacks, under the guise of being Negroes, under the guise of being African American. Because you see, as soon as we became African Americans and Negroes and black people going back to some, that's when you start to see the decline of our people. You start to see the downfall of our people the minute we started, taking on that term of African American and Negro and black and all this other stuff. So whenever you apply something that's false to a people, then you can't be angry at the people or be mad at the people for falling out in the society. Again, the only way to fix the minds of our people, to fix the problems of our people, is by us doing it. Money's not going to change that. If you give a bunch of people reparations, money's not going to change our people. Money's not going to change them. That's not going to fix them. If anything, until their mind is fixed, that's when the money is going to be useful to them, not now. A lot of people's like, give them the money and let them spend it on whatever they want to spend it on, and that's the end of it. You see, they're not going to keep that reparation money coming like they keep the money coming for the Mongoloid Indians, for the Red Indians. They're not going to keep giving our people. We deserve that for the next at least 100 plus 200-300 years. We deserve reparations, but like I said, because we were enslaved just as long as that, and we received no money for that. Nothing. You see, you got people that wasn't even enslaved getting reparations. You got people that wasn't even enslaved or put through hell in this country who getting reparations from this country, getting checks written to them. You see, people that's coming over here, people getting money that's being paid out of our taxes. I pay taxes. I pay high taxes. So just the money coming out of my pocket is going to help these people, but yet our people can't get any help. Does that make sense? That's why I said you so-called black people, you should not even be voting in any of these elections. You should not be voting for any presidents, mayors, governors, anything. Hold on to your votes. Don't vote for anybody because it's a sham election. You don't never get nothing out of it. And I'm not even into politics, but even I can see that. Right? Let me see. There's other things I wanted to address. I want to make sure I stay on topic because I'm going in on a lot of different things now. Let me see. I'm going to start speaking more on the original ethnic American bronze man, or bronze men, the original ethnic American bronze men, to get away from the modern day black males. You see, because the original ethnic American bronze men, these were your hunters, these were your warriors, these were your fighters, these were your skilled men. These were real men who raised families, children, things like that. Because just alone, they talk about the 3,000 years or more of the Mayan temples and the Mayan Empire. Like I said, we had empires going back further than that. That's why I said, you know, when they give numbers like 27,000 years ago and things like that, you got to be very mindful what they gave the number to the Red Indians. You got to be very skeptical about that. Okay? Because nobody was in America. They done did DNA traces where nobody was, you know, the oldest living fossils. And again, notice they don't talk about that in the regular media. The oldest fossils found here in the Americas is the fossils of our people, so-called black people, the bronze copper-colored people. The oldest living fossils found in America, which they thought was going to be Asian, they thought it was going to be Mongoloid, is our people. So again, how are these people the natives and they're not even the oldest people here? Our people are found here. They showed you the face of the women that goes back to the oldest people, and they done said that, but they don't talk. You can find a video on YouTube where they find the oldest Americans here, in this society. They found the oldest fossils of Americans in the central, and that's all. See, that's all America. Don't think that all of America is this United States. You got Central America, South America. America is a huge continent, very huge. It's not just one country. This is just 58 states that the Caucasians have chosen to set their states down into. America is Canada, it's Mexico, it's North America, it's South America, it's Central America, it's the Yucatan, all that's America. And all of that is our land. All of this is the land of the bronze copper-colored people, our people. You know, the real copper-colored people, not no brown people, not no black people, not no brownish black people like I heard a lot of you idiot Pan-Africans call us brown black people. I never even heard of nothing stupid like that before in my life, but, you know, you got to take that with a grain of salt. I was talking about, Oh, okay. Pull my shirt down. All right. This brings me to another point. Which brings me to another point. Okay. 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 Okay, I'm just looking at some of these, what's the names? All right, let me jump back into this. The topic of freedom. You know, there was a reason why, and even to this day, people don't want to see it. And this is what black is connected to. I'm going to show y'all what I'm saying with this. It made me keep thinking about the term black and why it's attached to our people. Remember I said the term black is a slave terminology. Black is a slave terminology. Why is black a slave terminology? Because it was given to us by Caucasians, by white people, right, who were at one time slave masters over our people in this country. So anything a slave master gives you, that is the recipient of slave teaching or slave connection. Again, that's a slave title because it was handed down from people who were acting as masters over our people. So in other words, the term black didn't come from us, it came from them. So anything they give us, even their last names, whatever titles, things they've given us, that's not for us to use. We're not supposed to be using black because it came from them. We're not supposed to be wearing their last names. We're not supposed to be following their gods, their devils, their religions, their philosophies. We're not supposed to follow any of that. We're supposed to have our own names, our own description of who we are as the copper-colored people. The bronze copper-colored people, because remember I said our people was at one point in time referring to themselves as sepia tone, copper, bronze, which is the real look of ourselves. That's the real identification of who we are. We come in many different shades of copper or bronze. That's real. That's what our skin looks like. For people to try to convince us that our skin is black and get us to go along with a system that deprives us of resources, that puts us at a status of last class citizens. I don't even consider us second class. We last class. We last behind everybody from your Caucasians at the top, your Asians, your East Indians, your Arabs, and everybody else in the middle. And they middle management, they get to claim white. And then there's us all the way at the bottom as black people. That was a space that was given to us by Caucasians along with that title of black. That's why I'm against the term black being used as for our people. We're not a black people. We are a copper colored bronze people. That is the correct terminology for our people. And again, we have to start defining ourselves. That African American, we didn't make no trips from Africa, so we shouldn't be sitting up here calling ourselves African American. These are slave titles. And why are they still enforcing a slave title on our people today? Why are we still wearing that? Why is that still pushed as black people, African Americans, black, black, black? Because it is a slave title. And to have people define themselves is a freedom move. That is a freedom move, to have people defining themselves, or to have one who looks like you saying, look, we should go with this. So if Nuben Minkare says, okay, we ethnic American tomorrow, and like 20 million, 50 million, 60 million, we all ethnic American. I'm just using the example as I wouldn't want everybody to claim that, because we don't want to attach ethnic American. It's a beautiful terminology that I'm coining and whatnot. And, we don't want everybody connecting to ethnic American, because it's a lot of degenerates in the black race. It's a lot of degenerates, a lot of sellouts, a lot of Sambos and coons, a lot of bed wenches. A lot of that's in the so-called black race. So no, we don't want everybody. Let certain people stay. Let the mass majority of people stay within the black race. A lot of degenerates, a lot of filth in the black race that we should not have come over into the ethnic American community, into the ethnic American race or people or nationality of who we standing up for. That should be something for people whose minds have developed into a greater understanding of what it is to be ethnic American, what this move means in us taking that name. See, because like in slavery, the masters, the Caucasian masters, so-called masters, they didn't want our people to ever think of themselves as being free. They didn't want you to think of yourselves as being free, because if you thought of yourselves as free, if you did not accept slavery and you kept saying, I want to be free, I want to be free, I don't want to take any orders from this cave beast anymore, I don't want to take any orders from this animal anymore, I don't want to have this animal raping my wife or forcing me to work. You see, all the things that real men stand up for and real women stand for, people who don't want to have to endure tyranny and endure bad treatment. If they start thinking about being free, then what happens? These people, once that freedom thing gets in the mind of our people, then they'll do every and anything to be free, even if it means taking your life, killing you, the people that stand in the way of their freedom. See, this is why they didn't want our people to think about being free, because once you want to be free, like I said, you'll do anything to get to freedom, anything to be able to be a master of your own destiny. And that's not what they want. That's not what the powers that be want for our people to think like, so-called black people to think like. That's why they keep that whole terminology of black on our people, African American. Again, why can't we call ourselves American? Why do we have to connect ourselves to the African? The white man don't have to call himself a European American. Why is he not calling himself European American if we got to call ourselves African American? Why is the so-called white man, the Caucasian, why is he able to go all over the planet and just basically blend in with everybody's civilization and make his own? Like he goes over to Africa, right? He goes over to Africa and South Africa, and I'm an Afrikaner now. He just created a whole nother name for himself. I'm Afrikaner. That's the name the Caucasians in South Africa created for themselves, so they wouldn't have to call themselves South Africans. We Afrikaners. And not only that, we're gonna subjugate the people. We're going to come here and just build a government over these people, and we're going to just basically take their resources, have them living like second or third class citizens, we're going to do that. Again, where is the righteousness in that? But again, when you're dealing with people who are mentally and morally bankrupt, they don't see a problem with that until it happens to them. You see, they don't see a problem with treating people that way until it happens to them. Okay. I'm just want to get a few things straight about, let's see. I think I touched on everything. I want to check and make sure, because I wanted to really touch on that thing about me being racist and whatnot, and people talking that up. I don't have time to be racist because racism comes from emotion, and usually the people who are pushing this whole racial idea is usually an emotional thing that they're coming from. I don't like the emotions of racism. So I pretty much said what I wanted to say. I'm about to close out soon. Anything else I didn't touch on? Huh? Say again? I spoke on Reza Islam. I said something about him. Check out my wife. I always shoot the topics over to her and see what, you know. And like I said, I don't have anything against Reza Islam. You know, I like his, you know, what he does, the information he gave on the facts and everything. That was very important, like I said. But if you're going to stand on the only thing I would say to Reza Islam, if you're going to stand on the copper colored thing in the 1828 definition of all people as copper colored races, then stand on that and stop calling our people black people. Either we black or we bronze. Or should I say either we're black or we're copper. And it can't be no in between. You're confusing the people. You see. And you have a platform with people seeing you on No Jumper and things like that. You're confusing the people. Either we're going to be copper colored people, the bronze copper colored elemental people, as what I'm saying our people are, or you still want to push the black thing. The black thing, just like Pan-Africanism, is played out. It's played out, and as it should be. But I think that's something I don't touch on. I don't like to, you know, I don't want to ramble on any longer and whatnot. We're going to close out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. And Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and Amen we continue forward forever. Check out MENTELLECT Radio tonight at 10. And subscribe. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. American Republic Radio. I'm sorry. My wife reminded me. Tonight's American Republic Radio. We're going to talk. We're going to get more deeper into the mindset of so-called black people. So check out American Republic Radio on Blog Talk Radio. I forget what the number is for that, but we'll pass it out and whatnot. Just go on American Republic Radio, Blog Talk, call it. I'm going to be taking calls. And that's pretty much it. We'll be back for more High and Mighty Talks probably right about Tuesday or something. So that's it. Good night.
Subscribe to MENTELLECT Patreon and join the American Republic. And subscribe to High and Mighty Talks on YouTube with Newbie Minkari.
It's the Republic of MENTELLECT, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of MENTELLECT, black race to the white race. If it's hell, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you.